Hey, everybody. Welcome to week 6. We're going to be talking about ML and AI's impact on society and kind of continue that conversation that we had from the previous week about machine learning and AI. So before we kind of went into more of the introduction of those concepts and kind of how they were designed, why they were designed, now we're going to touch upon a couple different things, more so the cultural aspect of it, the influences it has on society, and a whole bunch of different stuff. What we're going to do is let me show the agenda. So for the agenda, we're going to be talking about just BAU stuff in the beginning, AI's role in societies, and then we're going to do some demonstrations with some ChatGPT and Gemini, formerly known as Bard, who goes by Gemini now. And then we're going to talk about some deliverable for this week. So business as usual. I just want to mention that interview with an expert. I don't know if you saw in your syllabus was supposed to happen last week. We're going to be having it happen next week. So I'll link some more information about it. What I'm going to do is interview a expert live. You guys can join the live session or watch the recordings. To get extra credit, you just have to write a paragraph or two about it, what you've learned, and there's more details within D2L. Article review 3. We got 100% across the board. This is wonderful. Please let me know if you find these articles useful, if you have something else in mind. I think I mentioned before, but I didn't do it this week. But one of the weeks, I'm going to actually have you pick an article, discuss about it, and then you and your peers are going to comment back and forth about that article. But yeah, if you have any ideas and suggestions, please let me know. So let's talk about AI's role in society. So these slides are from last week, so I'm not going to go too much over it, but just kind of high level. What is artificial intelligence? It's a field within computer science. Essentially, it's about making computers do things that require intellectualness when it's usually done by humans. And then some of the goals are to create an expert system that exhibits the knowledge and decision making of a human himself. And then I just want a quick reminder of machine learning, what we learned from last week. There's different types of machine learnings. There's supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. And then let's get into this week's topic. So AI's cultural influence. So artificial intelligence is not just about transforming the way we work or automate tasks. It's profoundly influenced our culture in many ways than we've ever imagined. In the realm of arts and creativity, as I have it here, in the arts of creativity, AI has emerged as a collaborator, enabling artists to push the boundaries of what is in their imagination. For instance, AI algorithms can now generate paintings that resembles the works of Van Gogh, or create music that fuses classic that fuses that whoop, can't even speak. We can create music now that fuses classical composers with modern beats. This fusion of AI can now create creative prompts to help us design things that we've never thought about before. And then it actually has also got into literature. So it has been able to write concepts, might write, papers and scholarly articles based on the knowledge on the web. So when we think about changing humans' relationships and interaction, right, this is a huge topic. How are we interacting with the AI itself? So as AI become more integrated into our lives, it's also reshaping how our social interactions and relationship have changed. Chatbots and personal assistants, for an example, are changing how we communicate, offering both a convenient and raising questions about our reliance on digital companionship. Moreover, AI's role in social media algorithms is influencing our perspectives, potentially altering the very fabric of our social connections. When we think about how we look at social media, how we look at For You pages on Instagram, or how TikTok has only provided information of things that you like, right? These are all algorithms that are happening in the back. They're all generated by AI. When we think about chatbots and we think about personal assistants, right? I have multiple personal assistants at my house, right? Not physical people, but I have a lot of tech devices, right? I have a Google Home, I have an Alexa, I have a Google tablet. Everything is done automated. I can talk to my lamp, turn it on and off. These are all just examples of ways where we use personal assistants in our daily lives. Siri as well is considered a personal assistant. Um, and then even in the sense of AI entertainment, right? So personalizing content and virtual experiences. So last week we talked about streaming service such as Netflix providing recommendations. So in the entertainment, AI's impact is unmistakable. So when we think about it, from streaming services using AI to tailor recommendations to our taste, to video games, emerging AI to create more interactive experiences. The technology is personalizing how we consume content. When we think about virtual reality powered by AI is offering experiences so out of this world that it's begin to blur the lines between digital and reality. These examples underscore the cultural shift towards more personalized, interactive, and highlighting AI's growth and influence on our cultural as our cultural landscape. So I mentioned here virtual reality. As you guys heard, one of the biggest news right now, Apple's Vision Pro, and then we have, if you guys saw Mark Zuckerberg's response to it, is on the Meta Quest 2, right? This augmented reality and virtual reality has completely shifted how we think of AI and how we think of the future, right? So there's a lot more to come in this space. We're not going to touch too much about virtual reality, but just note that this concept is still fairly new in development of research, but it's year over year, it's made long and amazing strides. So now I want to touch about AI in healthcare. Let me just show the entire thing. So when we discuss artificial intelligence in the healthcare field, a sector where AI's impact is both profound and life-saving. As we explained before, AI's technology is revolutionizing diagnosis, enabling doctors to detect diseases like cancer more accurately and at early stages, an important one, than ever before. By analyzing medical imaging with greater precision than the human eye, AI supports medical professionals in making more informed decisions, ultimately providing patient outcome. Beyond the diagnosis, AI is paving the way for personalized medicine by leveraging vast databases on genetic information and patient history. AI algorithm can now tailor treatments planned to the individual, optimizing the effectiveness of healthcare intervention. This personalized approach represents a shift from a one-size-fits-all model that they previously had to care more about the uniqueness of the patients and their own DNA. So, saying all this, however, the integration of AI in healthcare is not without its ethical concerns. As we talked about before, there are plenty of issues that can come up with having AI in the healthcare. So, issues of patients' consent, data privacy, security are at the forefront of these issues. So, with AI systems processing sensitive health information, the impact of protecting patients' data is actually one of the most rising issues right now. How do we make sure that the data never gets leaked? We are seeing on our day-to-day hacks and data privacies just being broken all across the board. So how do we ensure that? But moreover, the resistance on AIs raises questions about the accessibility, equality of the healthcare systems, and ensuring that the advancement benefits all segments of the population equally. So now a nice one that I like is AI education. I am very big about incorporating artificial intelligence in the educational landscape. So when we turn our attention to the educational field, AI's impact is reshaping the learning experience, offering opportunities for personalization and effectiveness that was previously unimaginable. You thought about it before. If there was something that I mentioned in any of these slides and you're like, I don't know what Professor Hamid is saying, let me go look it up real quick. All right. So you can actually have ChatGPT giving you an entire lecture slide on the information that I'm giving you. And you do that obviously in good faith to understand more of the concepts. AI driven platforms are capable of adapting to individuals' learning paths, pace, and style of each student, providing personalized resources and feedback to support their unique educational journeys. This level of customization enhances engagement and fosters a deeper understanding of the material, as I mentioned before, potentially bridging some gaps that have in knowledge that traditional teaching methods struggle to address. Furthermore, AI is streamlining administrative tasks from grading assignments to managing admissions, allowing educators and institutions to focus more on teaching and less on bureaucracy. This automation of these tasks are not only improving operational efficiency, but is also opening up new avenues for innovation. However, there's a caveat. The digital division pose a significant challenge um, in the application of AI in the classrooms. Access to cutting edge AI tools and the internet varies widely, both within and across the country, raising the concerns about the excessive use of educational inequality. Addressing these divisions is a crucial way to ensure that AI service understanding these issues can allow us to understand where AI can be most useful within the actual education process, being as it is creating more of an equality and not as a barrier. So then we talk about the environmental implementation of implementation. Ooh, can't even speak today. So in addressing this environmental implications of AI, we must acknowledge a dual role. On one hand, AI does serve as a powerful tool in fighting against climate change. It analyzes vast database to predict environmental changes and optimizes the use of renewable energy, thereby contributing to more effective climate action strategies, similar to how we talked about in the healthcare. There's large databases that's being analyzed at a faster rate than we could have done. However, the development of AI, particularly the training of large models, is energy intensive. The carbon footprint associated with powering a data center highlights a significant environmental cost. This is the actual paradox, because the paradoxical challenge is for us to rethink how we can harmlessly, how we can harness AI's capability responsibly. Recognizing this, the technology companies has initiated efforts towards a more sustainable AI. Google is one of the forefronts on this, and they're very big about leaving less carbon footprints. And they're trying to get to a zero carbon zero carbon emission. This includes the development of energy effective algorithms and the use of AI to enhance environmental protection efforts, such as monitoring deforestation, monitoring water resources. These initiatives represent a commitment to leveraging AI's power in a manner that not only advances technology innovation, but also safeguards our planet for the future generations. So when we talk about legal and regulation consideration, we talked about this before, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. What I do want to mention here is the accountability in AI decision making, right? Then this is complex, as we talked about before. So imagine a scenario where AI decides an AI's decision leads to a financial loss, or even greater, harms an individual. It is not merely about the code or the algorithm, but about the decision making process that was programmed into the AI. This raises a big concern for not just transparent AI systems, but also a legal framework that can accommodate the vast majority of machine learning and automation decision making. Right. So when we think about regulations and we think about responsibility and ownership, who owns this content? Right. So when we think about AI's, intelligent property, right? Intellectual property, right? So think about this. Let's think about this for a second. So consider this. An AI creates a novel or a piece of music. Traditionally, copyright laws protects the creator's rights, but when the creator in this situation is AI, who then does the work belong to? This dilemma isn't just theoretical, it's a question being asked in courtrooms today, as you've seen on the news plenty of times, highlighting the big copyright laws that are going into effect of the age of AI, right? So when you create an AI image using ChatGPT, using Gemini, using any of these other platforms, do you own it? Does the company own it? Or who owns it, right? This is a big thing that we're trying to deal with nowadays and trying to figure out. So then we think about the future of AI. Um, what I want to do here is I want to talk about a couple things, right? So predicting AI's development. So, as AI continues to advance, it has a big promise to further integrate their technology into every fabric of our lives. If it goes from autonomous cars, if it goes from personal assistants, if it goes from just having ChatGPT, we are, more and more integrating AI as we think about it. Our phones, it's a vast, it's just a huge landscape of things that are happening now, right? So we have to understand how much further are we getting to. If you guys remember Moore's law, I think the quote goes something like technology will advance every 16 to 18 months. I could be wrong, but we are moving way faster than this concept in this law. um, if you look at videos from last year to this year of AI generated videos, it's a night and day. It's things that would have taken decades to do. It's doing within a year, and it's only getting smarter. So the challenges and opportunities presented by AI can um, they have no boundaries amongst national boundaries, right? So it underscores the need for global cooperation. We need to collectively understand and collectively collaborate, right? It's on an international scale. So we know how to harness AI's full potential to address pressing global challenges, promote understanding, and ensure that the AI benefits are shaped and equal across the world, right? We may look at, here in the United States that we have all this technology and we're advancing, but how can we take that and actually move further with it, right? How can we help other nations? How we can, spread the wealth of knowledge of AI across multiple different platforms? And this is not to say that, America is the forefront of all technology and AI. Certainly, other countries as well have advanced technologies. How do we, globally and internationally, we'll say globally, collaborate to ensure that how AI is actually presented equally. So that's a food for thought. Um, what I want to jump into now is actually doing some testing. So some of you have already, might have already used ChatGPT or Gemini, but what I want to do is just kind of highlight some cool things, right? And I would love to hear what you have to say about some of these things. So let's jump right into it. Right now, we're going to actually talk about ChatGPT and Gemini and just test out some scenarios. So before we get into that, right, let's talk about it, right? So innovating ChatGPT. We talked about it before. It was developed by OpenAI. It represents a significant leap in conversational AI. It's a product of years of research and development, um, years of um, years of development. ChatGPT series is to achieve a conversational agent that can engage with humans in a natural and insightful manner. The technology is beyond ChatGPT. Based on a transformative architecture, has been able to train various vast array of data from the internet, enabling it to understand and generate human-like text across multiple different topics and languages. So some cool examples of ChatGPT, right? When we think about it, it can create poems, stories, music, as we talked about. Coding assistance, it's been huge in the debugging world. It been able to create code for individuals. I've seen some examples of you can take a snippet of some, feature and you can put it into ChatGPT, and it will tell you what type of what type of code to use for these things. So it's really cool. And it's great for language and helping you get some tips. What we'll do in a bit, right after I discuss the next point, is go into it and try some scenarios, which I think will be pretty fun. And then we think about Gemini, right? So Gemini could be looked at as Google's response to OpenAI. Um, and that could be true or not. I don't know the backstory of it, all of it, right? So I'll know what I see here on the internet. But Gemini, as is recently being known, used to be called Bard, and it's the Google's conversational AI, and it builds on the company's unparalleled expertise in research and natural language processes, or the NLP. By leveraging LaMDA, Google's language model for dialogue applications, Gemini aims to provide users with responses that are not just informative, but also contextual awareness and conversationally influent. I can't even speak. Conversationally um, fluent. What really sets Gemini apart is its ability to tap into Google's vast repository of real-time information, making it capable of delivering up to the minute updates, facts, and explanation on various topics. Whether it's to break down complicated scientific concepts into digestible information or by providing sports scores, or facilitating interactive learning sessions. But Gemini exemplifies the practical application of AI in enhancing our access to and understanding information. I think I have some examples. So some cool examples is to simplify very complex topics, provide real-time information, as I mentioned, and interactive learning experiences with a Q&A session. Pretty cool. So right now we're going to actually be diving into it. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go to ChatGPT. Let me see. Okay, you guys are able to see my ChatGPT. And what we're going to do is actually take this prompt. So we're going to take this prompt here and we're going to act like a recruiter. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this prompt and what we're going to do is take ChatGPT's prompt right here. So copy it, and then we're going to go and paste it. Oop, I pasted a couple times. Paste it again. Okay. And now we're going to have ChatGPT act like our recruiter. So here's some things that it's going to provide to us. What you could do is you could take your actual resume and you can actually ask it simple questions like, giving that prompt, you can then say, here's my resume, what should I do? So something pretty cool. Another prompt that we can do is it can actually be a web design consultant. So what we're going to do here, and it's still going. So it's going to give you a lot of information. So if you're new to this, it'll be able to give you a lot of cool information. Let me just stop this here. Let me open up a new chat. So ask a simple question, right? We're going to ask it to be a web design consultant, and then we can allow it to do anything, right? Well, what I always recommend here is to, I think in this example here, it says that my first request is to help create an e-commerce site for selling jewelry. So now it's going to go and do its thing. When you tell ChatGPT what to be versus just asking the question, it will allow it to actually think in that manner. So sometimes you'll see is that, I want you to be a web consultant. I want you to be a recruiter, or, another instance that there was a video that I posted not too long ago about Jeff Su, when he talks about how to improve your resume by providing certain prompts to ChatGPT. So these are all pretty cool applications you can use to help you in any way possible, right? And I think I left here, there is a link to it. I got the link from Reddit here, or from GitHub, and it's just a plethora of prompts for multiple different occasions, right? So you can use any of these, motivational speaker, a rapper. It's pretty cool. It's a really cool link. Have fun with it. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. Next, we're going to talk about similarly, right? So we can do some cool stuff with Gemini. One of the things that I really like about Gemini is that we can actually summarize. So I know you guys love watching my videos, but if for some reason you want to know the TLDR, you want a quick summary about it, you can actually train Gemini to do that. So what you want to do here is that I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say, hey, summarize this video here. And this video is of my video from last week's. And Gemini is actually going to go look at it on YouTube and actually run through it. So it's a pretty cool thing. So what I think it does a breakdown. Information isn't always 100%, right? It calls me Professor Adam, spelled Adam incorrectly, but it kind of gives a great, breakdown of everything that I talked about. And you can ask follow-up questions, right? And it provides you the video here too. And then you can ask simple questions like, what is a good what is a good follow-up question to provide to Professor, can't spell today, Professor Omid. And, you can just keep going from there. It's a whole thing that you can do. Here's some, well, and for this one, I actually can't do it. There you go. So there are some limitations, but there are some things that it actually does provide to you, right? So it is still a work in progress, but a pretty cool thing. I recently found out about this. It can summarize. I'm super happy about that. Some other things that you can do here is actually ask it to look for specific things. Because Gemini is within your Gmail, it can actually look for specifics. It can look for specific emails. So there's one that you want to do. You can have one that, look for emails by me. And it should provide all that information. One that I really like is actually this one here. So an example is to help craft an email, right? I think that's one of the cooler things about it. You can have Gemini create an email for you based on any topic. So an example here, let's say you had a problem with your SWOT analysis. You kind of asked, ChatGPT, or sorry, you asked Gemini to provide some help actually crafting an email to me about your SWOT analysis. So here I say, I need help crafting an email to Professor Omid regarding a mistake on the SWOT analysis. Here are some points to include, and here are some things that I just mentioned, hypotheticals. And, from there on, you're going to click enter. And now Gemini is actually going to craft the email for you, right? And sometimes it gives you a couple different options of what to say. Wonderful. These are some great emails here. What I would say is obviously, copy this, make the edits to it, make it personalized. This is a great starting point for your email, right? There may be some things that are not necessarily relevant, but this is a great starting point. So there are plenty of, examples out there for Gemini and what to do. If I find some, I'll definitely share some with you guys, but these are some cool things that I really want to call out. So if you haven't used Gemini, let me real quick actually go back. So ChatGPT has multiple different things. I think the most basic one is the ChatGPT 3.5. I believe a paid subscription one is ChatGPT 4, and this one you can actually create multiple different things as well. So you can create an image. So like, create an image about, I have no idea. Create an image about a flying cat. I have a cat. He is here somewhere, but it will actually craft up the image for you as well. And then while that's loading, let me go back to Gemini. Gemini has two versions of it. The free version, which is just Gemini, and then they have Gemini Advanced, which can do all these cool things here, right? It can do some role playing. It can help you write some HTML. And it's a really cool thing here. So let's see if they provided the cat yet. Well, there you go. There's my flying cat. It's super interesting, super fun. So if you have